Hi kids, it's Louisa again from St. Luke's, Frankston. How did you go with Dave the Donkey? Did you enjoy that storybook? And I wonder, were you able to figure out who it might have been that Grandpa Donkey carried on his back when he was much younger? Did you work it out? That's right, it was Mary with baby Jesus in her tummy. What a lucky donkey family they were to be able to do so many special things. Well, today is Good Friday and I've got another storybook for you. Now, you might wonder why they call it Good Friday when it's the day that we remember that Jesus died on the cross, which was very sad. But I'm hoping that by the end of this book, you'll know why it was Good Friday. Now, this book is called The Garden, The Curtain, and the Cross, and it's by Laferton and it's illustrated by Catalina Echeverri, and I hope you enjoy it. Now I want you to pay special attention to whenever a curtain is mentioned in this story. Do you think you can do that? Well, let's get started. Let me see if I can find the first page. Here we go. A very long time ago, right here in this world, in the garden, everything was wonderful. The world was full of laughing and playing and smiling and fun. There was nothing bad, ever. There was no one sad, ever. And best of all, God was there. He had made it all. He was in charge of it all. He loved it all. People could see God and speak to God and just enjoy being with God. It was wonderful to live with God. But then, one day, the people did a terrible thing. They decided they didn't want to do what God said. They decided they wanted a world without God in charge. God calls this sin, and sin spoils things. So sin has no place in God's wonderful garden. God said to the people, "You can't live with me in my garden anymore." And he sent them outside. To show the people they had to stay outside, God put some warrior angels in front of the garden. The angels were like a big keep out sign. Now things were sometimes bad, and people were sometimes sad. But people still kept sinning because they didn't want God to be in charge. So no one could come into God's wonderful place. God said, because of your sin, you can't come in. God wanted people to remember it is wonderful to live with him, but because of your sin, you can't come in. So he told the people to build a special building called his temple where he would live. In the middle of the temple was the most wonderful place in the world, the place where God was, with nothing bad and nothing sad. It was very exciting. But then God told people to put a big curtain around this wonderful place. The curtain had pictures of warrior angels on it. It was a big keep out sign. For hundreds of years, the temple curtain reminded people that God said, "It is wonderful to live with him, but because of your sin, you can't come in." Babies became grown-ups and had babies. And those babies became grown-ups and had babies. And those babies became grown-ups and had babies. Hundreds of summers and winters passed by, and the keep-out curtain stayed in the temple. Then one day, God's Son came to live in this world as a person. He was called Jesus. Jesus always did what God said. Jesus never sinned. And Jesus visited the temple where the keep-out curtain hung. Jesus knew that things were sometimes bad and sometimes sad. Jesus said that God had sent him to open the way back to God's wonderful place, where there would be nothing bad and no one sad. But people still did not want God to be in charge. So they decided to put Jesus on a cross to die. Can you see it over here? It was the most bad thing that had ever happened. It was the most sad day of all time. But Jesus had a plan. He had always planned to die on the cross. What a strange plan. Why would God's Son plan to die? Why do you think? On the cross, Jesus took our sin, all the bad things we do, and all the sad things we cause. Jesus took them all from us. And when he did, something amazing, astonishing, astounding happened. The curtain tore. God had ripped up the keep out sign. God's wonderful place was open again. Because Jesus died, we can go in. After Jesus died, his friends put him in a tomb. They were very sad. For 2 days, nothing happened. Then the next morning, Jesus' friends went to see his body in the tomb. And it wasn't there. A little later on, Jesus' friends were all together. And suddenly Jesus was there, alive. Suddenly his friends weren't sad. Now they were so happy. God had brought Jesus back to life so that he could live in God's wonderful place forever. And Jesus has sent everyone an invitation to come and live with him there too. He tells us, God says it is wonderful to live with him. Because of your sin, you can't come in. But I died on the cross to take your sin. So all my friends can now come in. We can live with God forever. There will be nothing bad and no one sad. We will see God and speak to God and just enjoy being with God, just as he planned. It will be wonderful to live with him, and it's all because of Jesus. We will say every day, thank you, Jesus, You're amazing. And you can start saying that today. Did you see the curtain in this story? Did you see that it was a big keep out sign? And on Good Friday, Jesus dying on the cross paid our sin and ripped the curtain and ripped up that keep out sign so that now we can be friends with Jesus because we're not blocked by our sin. That's good news, isn't it? Well, we're going to keep celebrating on Sunday with our Easter Sunday story, and you'll be doing that with your family. I hope you have a wonderful Easter, and I'll talk to you soon. And I don't know if you noticed, but this book had lots of amazing pictures in it, and you might want to read it yourselves at home. And I'll put the details below this video so that you can buy this book if you want it. The people who published this book at the Good Book Company have kindly allowed us to read this story on YouTube, which normally we're not allowed to do. But because of COVID-19, they've said, yes, you can read it, but please tell your people that they can also buy a copy if they would like a copy to read at home. And they also have a special activity book and colouring in book that goes with it. And there's a special sale on at the moment if you're interested. But I hope to see you, hear how you're going on Easter Sunday, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.